Hey, what is going on, guys, gals, aliens, and degenerate crypto enthusiasts? Welcome back to Dano Crypto. Welcome to the live stream. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So, want to welcome you guys to the show today. We are going to be talking about Richard Heart's new sacrifice that just hit the timeline with a sacrifice contract. We're going to be breaking that down, and we just did a video on it this morning. So if you caught that video, let me know. Make sure you hit the like button on that video and leave some comments and let me know your thoughts about it. We covered just a little bit, went into what the community is thinking about it. We're going to get into just being bullish overall in crypto, because really doesn't make any sense to be bearish right now. And the only reason why I feel like the timeline of crypto, the people that have been investing in crypto, they've been buying alts for, the past 6 months. Maybe they started really doubling down before January. And obviously, if we were to pull up a chart, the charts, for altcoins looked like absolute trash going from January, and everything went down, 100%. So it's still, if you've been holding alts, you just are feeling a lot of pain. So you have to just know this. And if you were holding gold or XRP or privacy coins or Bitcoin and silver, gosh, or have a 401k, then you're not as angry. You're not thinking like, man, I want to get the bleach bottle. But no, I'm just kidding. Because that's kind of how a lot of that's how Pulse Chain people feel right now. Let's go into the bookmarks. We found a really funny bookmark, because this is basically how Pulse Chain people are feeling right now, or at least for the past couple of days. They're like, So, and also a big account hexologist, he said, "Are you planning on sacrificing?" 22% said yes, 77% said no. So kind of the overall consensus right now is that there's a lot of people that are not really wanting to sacrifice for this. And so what is happening with this, we're going to break down a little later in the show, but what we're going to talk about is basically the big shakeout to the max. I think currently right now we're having a big shakeout. People are basing all of this little bear market sell-off that we're having and equating it to this being the beginning of a 1 to 2 year bear market that happened just like in our 4-year cycles that we've had in the past. So the reason why I think this is broken is because our antiquated money system is being on-railed and on-ramped into crypto. As we speak, it's been happening. The banks are starting to tokenize, and even the ones that were scrutinizing crypto the most, like the JP Morgans and the Chase and the Jamie Dimons, all of them, they are now tokenizing stuff on Base. So this is a big one. So look, from proof of concept to fully live, JP Morgan's USD deposit token, JPMD, we've been talking about this for now months and years, that the banks are going to be coming in with having stable coins. They're going to have applications running on their software. They're going to have their software built on the blockchain, and they're going to be on-ramping using these crypto rails that have been developed over the past 6 years. So you have to think about it. The old antiquated money system had been running for now with our debt system and the different Swift banking systems and the different money rails, the Fed now, there's a few different rails that the Feds have been using as well that have been over time been going into digital, but now it is going to be blockchain. So this is crazy. So is now available for institutional transfers on Base. Moving money should take seconds, not days. Commercial banking is coming on chain. So this is straight from Base. And so this is what is happening right now. So I think there's no reason to be super bearish. I think over time, we're just going to see a network effect on some of these blockchains. I don't think it's gonna be all of them, obviously, but I think the ones that have been the institutional pick right now, especially through the modality of the ETS, like we talked about, is Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. And then you can go down the line. And how I like to go down the line is just look at the chains that have the stable coins and a lot of transactions, the DeFi, 24-hour chain volume, DEX volume, stable coins, bridge TVL. So we like to look at things like we have SUI, we have the XRPL Ledger, we have Stellar Lumens, we have Optimism, Mantle, Ton, Aptos, Plasma, AVAX, Avalanche, we have Pol, Polygon ecosystem. We have and Polygon's interesting because it's like a layer 1 and layer 2. It's kind of both, it's kind of like a fusion. People always kind of got confused of what it even is, but it's kind of both, that's why I've kind of liked it. It's one of my favorites. Arbitrum is used a lot as with the decentralized perps. The decentralized perps is a huge narrative right now. And big exchanges are pushing decentralized finance. Even centralized exchanges are now pushing for DeFi. So it's like, so you kind of can pick and choose. You got all these different options that you can choose from. And so it's about moving money. And we have a clip from Ivan Solderite, who is the CEO of MoonPay. He talks about how this is kind of like, he's like, I see a future where like basically like everything is going to be able to be liquid from the stable coin to be able to then, be on chain, then swap it to go into this, hold a tokenized version of this, and then maybe be able to then off ramp it into this digital bank, just it's to be able to just have liquid assets going into and being operable with each other. This is the future. So what chains are going to be used in this manner? So Base is really pushing this. Polygon is pushing it. AVAX, Sol really pushing this to try and get like institutions, retail, gamers, developers, all this stuff. Game developers, finance developers, protocol developers, whether it be anywhere from Wi-Fi networks to staking to gaming to privacy to cell phone service. Just across the board, Solana has a hand in all of that. So that's huge. So I think over time, people underestimate the growth potential for Solana and still underestimate the growth potential of Ethereum, because Ethereum is being used in its own right with institutions and retail and these banks. Like, it's just across the board. Ethereum is still a powerhouse. And so this is how I'm judging of what I want to hold, which is the bigger market cap stuff that still I think has high potential, but then go down the list. And then you can kind of start to potentially build up a nice list of altcoins that I think right now are still so undervalued and are sitting at accumulation zones for, quote, an altcoin season we haven't even seen yet, And I know it's crazy to even keep saying that, but it's because we've been stretched out. We've had this cycle, the 4-year cycle broken. We haven't really seen a true ETH all-time high, like really break through. I think we're going to be seeing by the end of the year, I don't think a 200K Bitcoin, but I think safe call for Bitcoin would be $135,000 per Bitcoin for Christmas. That's kind of my call for Bitcoin. And we're going off of us just kind of bouncing off of that little trend line, unless we break under it again, which would be bearish. But we're going back and trying to test that trend line again, because here you can see on the Coinbase chart, we went and tested that order block of max pain at $98,000. This lined up with us touching the trend line that has been created from these lows. We pulled this trend from the 39,000 bottom of January 2024, and then it's just been hitting this trend line of breaking up into the staircase momentum that's been happening. So we hit this trend again, and every time we've bounced on this trend, we've went up a good, 100, 2x. So I'm looking at, potentially from every time we've hit the trend, and I'm going to bring it up to, so we went 65 here. Boom, boom, hit that trend. And then I'm curious to see an average between 119,000 or 119% and 65%, an average. And so my call was just was like 134,000, but I wonder if it could go at least to 45% from this bottom, from the trend line. I'm kind of looking at that. That's how I'm looking at Bitcoin's growth here over time, just kind of in this channel. You can kind of see it building up. So I see no reason to be bearish. Yeah, so here's a comment from old Tom Lee. And so here's a question from Tom Nash that is asking, well, what if the feds sideline us and don't cut in December? Because remember, Jerome Powell said that it's not a guarantee, far from it, that we should be cutting in December. And that's actually what gave the market a bit of a spooky feeling to think that, okay, the feds were supposed to be QE, but they're still giving a tightening tone. So let's see.
What happens if Powell throws a curveball and doesn't cut in December? Does the market react negatively to that?
Yeah, in the short term, Tom, that would. But as you know, Fed Chair Powell, now he's done a good job as Fed Chair. But as you know, he's not popular with the administration. So there's a good chance that he is a lame duck Fed Chair, and there's going to be a replacement named. I think if he doesn't cut in December, the White House is going to accelerate plans to replace the Fed Chair. So the odds of a quote shadow Fed go to 100%. And that new shadow Fed will be establishing monetary policy. So I think there isn't going to be as necessarily negative repercussions, because I think the idea of a new Fed would be one that doesn't have to be ruled by all the voices of the Fed either. There may be a shift in the way monetary policy is conducted.
I think people in general put too much into what Powell says, how he says it. I think there's over-analysis of.
I kind of have the same feeling. I've always been annoyed by like the market and everything reacts way too much by what he says. It's not just by what Jerome says. It's a committee, and he's a chair of a 15-seat committee in the Fed. So for the Federal Reserve, and then you got all the presidents of the districts of the banks in America that are part of the Fed. So it's not just one guy. It's like it's everyone. It's just like when people think that the president has just like the say for certain things. Like the president does have executive order power to an extent, and there's certain things that the president can do that can override certain things. But to an extent, it has to go through Congress. It has to go through the judicial branches to be able to to get approved for these things. But it's really interesting how fast they can get stuff approved when there's some kind of war or something happening overseas, and all of a sudden billions of dollars can get approved in 6 hours, and they're like, send it up. They're like, print it up, baby. But then when there's something like a natural disaster or something happening here, like people are literally floating down the river on their own house, and the government's like, yeah, we don't have that FEMA cash. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're going to have to just keep floating down the river. Sorry. It's pretty atrocious. They're like, sorry, the FEMA money ran out. Where did you send it? Don't worry about it. Don't ask where we sent it. So yeah, that's my overall take on the shakeout to the max, the shake it to the max. We're going to shake it to the max. This is the shakeout to the max. Shout out to Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu community for making some really cool merch. If you want to support your country of choice, you can actually get a country themed with your native flag on the most amazing meme content and egregore creation in existence, which is the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu. Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu logo here. You can get the American version if you want to show your patriotism, be patriotic with also showing your support for the culture of memes, then you would be wearing this shirt. We're going to be ordering one here probably tonight. All right, shout out to Ragsy. Ragsy made a point. She's like, you have to have the narrative or it's not going to last. And the meme will get PvP'd forever. PvP after PvP after PvP. So stick to the best narrative and a cult will form around it. And it's a good point that she makes because this is how the biggest kind of cult guild tokens arose, which was Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Pepe. We've had some really strong, really strong, coins come out of this as well. Like we've had MOG, SPX 6900, Pepe, Wojak. Wojak doesn't have, I wouldn't necessarily has a community, but it's just kind of like this underdog narrative that I've been following. And then you have the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu community. All the strong, I attribute the ETH core memes that came out around this time of Pepe is something that I have seen as one of the best narratives. And then she mentions and makes a good point about the contract lore. Like if you can kind of figure out which contracts have the best lore, like Pepe, for instance, best contract lore in the supply and in the token itself, because the token contract has 69 in it. Okay. And the supply is 420 trillion. So it's just, you can't beat that. So the contract lore, it's in there. The meme is in the contract. It's the meme itself. So it's all those things combined that you can't really recreate. You can recreate it, but when it comes out in a natural way, like how Pepe did and some of these, and like Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu, it was literally just based off this backpack meme. But then it just started to kind of create itself and eventually becomes this thing that I think is going to take over base. You know, I still have a good narrative and thesis for Brett as a base token, but Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu has been very much, I think, in the mind share and in the dreams of Jesse Pollock, and probably starting to get shilled onto Brian Armstrong. And also for the people that are developing on base, they're starting to notice Jinxie Y's really amazing art that he's been doing for and just doing for a really long time. And it's starting to look like a really amazing setup. I don't know. And obviously we all have bag bias. Let's be honest. We all have bag bias here, guys. Like any of the things that you're holding, you're going to want to be excited about certain things being either mentioned about it that will help it do well. It's just natural. And what's great is that you might even already have been building up a bag of things, and then all of a sudden things are hitting the timeline that strengthen your thesis and your bias to begin with. I talked about it with Ragsy, how Morad shows up and does this whole breakdown thesis of his list. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I was already bullish on some of those. And so Morad came in as and just helped me, helped my bags, I guess, specifically with Ticker Bitcoin, because I was already, kind of onboarded myself onto liking the ticker because it just made me laugh. It was just Ticker Bitcoin specifically. It just made me laugh. It's hilarious. I mean, when you're finding and trenching for all these memes, you're trying to figure out what's going to be like a Shiba Inu or a Dogecoin. It's going to be something that's going to make you laugh. It's going to be something that makes you laugh. Ridiculous. And so that's why it just made sense for me. But that could be something else for you. You might think, and it's not even just but if it making you laugh, something will resonate with you. And I just hope that whatever that is, it does well. That's all. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you, because I don't know. I mean, look, you look at the Ticker Bitcoin chart. Well, let's look at the Ticker Bitcoin chart. There's multiple opportunities in this chart. Let's go to liquidity. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 Inu. You look at the chart, and I marked all these points where, you know, you could have, and these points that I circled are euphoric points in the market of meme coins. Okay. You got that August 2023, like euphoric meme coin top went right back down into the purple accumulation zone. Then you had November 2023. We had this next pump. I'm not sure exactly what, I can't remember exactly what was happening right here. Then it went into the ground again, went in the purple box. Then it broke a new all-time high in March. I remember what happened here was in between January, February, and March, ETH and the ETH BTC ratio started to flip bullish. That made strong ETH coins like this and Pepe and a lot of other ones pump. So it broke a new all-time high. Then ETH took a little bit of a plunge. It sent everything else kind of going down. You had a few days to take profits and get out, but then you had another opportunity. It went right back down into the accumulation zone. And look, went into May. And that's where we saw some of the rotation back into memes and into the fundamental projects too. Not just the memes, but just like altcoins in general. And then went right back down again. So it was like, it was just having this heartbeat of momentum. People were obviously taking profits who got in early here, because you think any average price that you were getting in and you were able to just kind of be like, okay, I'm going to buy low and sell high. You were constantly getting opportunities for 3 to 4 to 5X's across this chart. And so then it happened again. But what signified this interesting accumulation was that it was making lower highs going into the beginning of the first of the second quarter of the year of 2024. Then we got down into what was the quote like chaos of the pre-election. Okay, chaos pre-election, the whole Trump insanity, all of the stuff that was happening. I don't even have to get into it. I mean, if you were under a rock, then you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But we had all of that volatility happening. Okay. And then we had some of the biggest highs in the quote in the market in general going into, some of them hit it early, like this one actually hit it early in October and then continued a pump right here. What's interesting is what killed it is we had a big whale sell $3 million of the token, and then it instantly got bought back up, sent it right back up into, let's go to price range. Bottomed out, didn't hit back into the accumulation zone, which is interesting because it got bought up so fast, and then it went back up into a 3x. But it was perfectly timed that at that point was the absolute top of the market, and it got cooked right back down into the purple accumulation zone. So this is a really interesting chart to look at all points of euphoria, from the meme coin cycle, all of the different capitulation points going from 2023 all the way leading up into the Trump election. And then now we're at the same freaking levels that we've seen before. And so this is just where you have to believe. I don't care what it is you're holding. I don't care what it is. Everyone's portfolios are going to look so different. You can't be this blanket statement of what you should do in crypto because everyone's portfolios are different. You could literally just be flipping NFTs. So everything that I'm talking about means nothing to you. But if you're just trying to follow all the the strongest narratives, you're trying to find the biggest asymmetric upside potential for some of these things. Some of them can be low cap. Some of them can still be huge market cap stuff, like we've talked about. Like we mentioned, all of these projects inside of DeFi Llama, like all of these, like these are high valued technically, but in terms of the scope of the value of all of the companies in the world, crypto as a whole is very undervalued because it's only at $4 trillion for the entire space. So And then you look at something like this, where Nvidia is valued, one company, Nvidia, that is basically bubbling and valuing and propositioning, propping up all these other AI companies, is worth 4.5 trillion just by itself. So crypto is massively undervalued as a tech, as of what we could be getting into early right now. And we're all bearish, thinking, oh, it's 4-year cycle, it's over, bro. And everyone, like all these people that are just like PFPs on the timeline, I don't think they know what they're talking about. They are not looking at it as a way of the entire world is going to be using this technology. And if the banks are already giving up and they're just like, I mean, they just have to go on chain or they're going to die. Like, these people are going to, these companies and these banks know that the younger generation is already wanting something like blockchain. They just don't understand it quite yet because they've been gaslit to think it's a scam. And so what you have to think about is like, this is do you get what I mean? It's the best way to explain it. Like, the young people and the people you would think would be bullish crypto are not bullish crypto because they've just been fed different news sources of it being a scam. But they're using Venmo and Cash App, or they're using these different apps that are essentially that type of mechanism. But when you start to get deep into the blockchain, you start to get into these networks that you can actually own pieces of the network by holding the asset, but then you can also use that asset to then send it around the world to whoever the hell you want, and then take it down and then kind of go down the rabbit hole. This is what we do need. We need to explain that to retail. So then that is actually what will get them to use it. A new money system. They've already been, quote, kind of testing it out, but you get a little bit more control. The difference is like you are given a little bit more of the control and you can kind of be a little bit more liquid. And that's how I like to think about it. That's what got me into crypto to begin with. And so let's segue this a little bit into a privacy section, because I had this planned for yesterday's live stream, but it was tough. I kept getting interrupted and I was getting so distracted. So let's go into some of these privacy coins. So we're going to mention the ones that we know about, and we're not going to really point out any other ones that we don't know about, because some of these I really just don't know. I don't know what they're about. I will just tell you about the ones that I've kind of noticed over the past 4 years, and what has normally pumped during altcoin seasons and when we've had these rotations. Right now, we saw Zcash be one of those first in the rotation. So Bitcoin pumped. Then we had a little bit of ETH. We had a little bit of these altcoins doing some action, but mostly they kind of were out underperforming against gold even and Bitcoin itself. So, but as that rotation started to happen, we had Bitcoin go to 126,000. What started pumping? All these old dinosaur legacy coins like Zcash and what was the other ones? If you go to the top 100 and go to the year, we had Stellar Lumens 144%, HBAR 200%, Dash 142%, Zcash up almost 1,000%. So Monero 142%. So you get the idea. So mainly the biggest, and XRP. So like all of these things outperformed all of the stuff that was mainly more on the timeline for you to try and buy. And those went down 90%. But while you could have been DCAing all this stuff, so you see the rotation happen with Bitcoin, then those, and then most of the other stuff kind of got killed. So that is what is happening currently right now. So Zcash saw that pump. Now it hit 2017, 2018 resistance from the previous run. Okay. Cause it got in 2017, it got up to $700 something, 750, but it hit resistance. It hit that resistance, went down 20%. So then we have Dash. Dash did see some of that growth, but not as much as Zcash, but it does still, in terms of the market cap compared to Zcash, it's pretty undervalued. So Dash, I'd keep an eye on that. Monero is the obvious next like eye for the end of the cycle. I think Monero might be peaked at the end of the cycle at $1,000. So wherever the end of the cycle is, if you see Monero at $1,000, I'd be very curious to see what the other coins are looking like when Monero is at $1,000. We've already charted Monero. We've showed you the Monero chart, and it actually is really bullish. It's 380 in a channel, trading up from this double bottom that happened at 105. If you're looking at the daily, I'm looking at a pump up and a resistance to it's 720. So you think from the previous bull market, we had Monero go to 540. So I'm thinking we just like in this end of the bull market in cycle, we just double that. And we're just going to go to like $1,000. Like that's my bullish case, like my best case scenario, bullish case scenario. Bearish, worst case scenario, we go to 700. We go to 700, we hit resistance, and then we end up maybe doing another fake out pop up to that $1,000 mark. And that's my prediction for Monero. So this is what I think. Because look, you got this two deviation cup happening, like it boom up there. Hit that all-time high right there. And these are two of the altcoin seasons. Remember, we've only had two altcoin seasons. ICO season in 17, and then COVID pump stimmy going out of 2020 and 2021. And so then this is what I see as the next pump. We got all this, we got the tariff stimmy coming down the line. We got the interest rates going down. We got a reshuffling of a lot of different things coming into play. We got the ETF, so that's where I think Monero could end up as the next pop for altcoin season for privacy. So now let's go down. Let's keep going down the list. Then I remember about a year and a half ago, I was watching and looking at Zen Horizon. Actually, if you're looking at something that's about a mid cap, Horizon. They were doing something. What were they did? They launched Horizon is a modular privacy first platform designed to make privacy technology such as zero knowledge proofs and usable across the web. Originally launched in 2017, fair launch. No, it was a no ICO project. Horizon is now undergoing a major evolution with the launch of Horizon 2.0. It's a next generation layer 3 app chain deployed on Base. And so we were just talking about Base, how Base is, we're bullish on Base. And so it's an app chain. So it's kind of like when you go in there, it generates an address for you, but it's inside of its protocol. It's kind of like Injective. Injective is kind of the same way. Injective, like you go into the Injective protocol, and then you have an address deployed for you. Yeah, cool. So yeah, this would be kind of like a mid cap pick would be Horizon. I remember seeing that. I think the logo changed. It used to be blue, but now it's yellow. That's funny. Xano. I like that. Like the name. Oh, and then Railgun. Yeah, so Railgun, this was another one that's kind of like the mid cap. I've been hearing about this one, Railgun. But then also, if you want to go for another kind of mid cap undervalue, I think is Rose. I've seen Rose pump every single time we've had an altcoin season, and whenever we've had some just alts in general, people just being super euphoric on alts. I remember Rose just having a nice steady pump, nothing crazy, and it had 3 peaks. If you were to look at the price in the log of the price, look, it had all these nice peaks. It broke some all-time highs multiple times, had a really nice, but then you can see it went into the bear market. That was our bear market. And then you can see though, that it did get pretty close to where it was pumping in the previous altcoin season. So this is where I like to see some strength of where, hey, it at least all during this craziness was able to get some traction. Okay. But now we're in that point where, like I said, like we have to be believers. Look, I mean, with any altcoin, I don't care what it is. this is where you have to be so bullish crypto and be buying where it like feels like it just feels gross. It just feels like the dumbest thing. Where's CoinMarketCap? CoinMarketCap, if we go into the fear and greed index right now, we are still in fear. Technically, we should be buying fear and selling when it's in extreme greed. But a lot of what people do as monkey mind kicks in is we're like selling in the fear and we're trying to buy when it looks good. But we really need to start to think that when all the big KOLs are making their thumbnails they're like, it's over, it's, and then and all the classic people that you see calling for the top or that it's over. Yeah, that's usually a nice bottom signal, actually. It's usually a nice bottom signal. But thank you guys for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. We're going to be going for just another 10 minutes or so. So I appreciate all the support wherever platform you're watching. And remember, guys, it's so easy to turn any image you want into a video. And you can also give it like a little description of what you want it to do. It'll just automatically generate like a scene for you. But if you say, I want the Sonic to jump up and then chuck that 2 ETH into the other President Sonic's face, you can do so. It's really cool. But yeah, 2 ETH to me, 2 ETH to you, makes the whole world go round. All right, so I guess that covers my patience, my friend, section of the live stream. We got shake out to the max, shake it to the max, Bitcoin altcoin analysis. Build up some patience, please. And also now we're going to go into the ProveX sacrifice. So this is the Richard Hart post. We made a video this morning on it. This just went live, provex.info. There's the contract. You are sacrificing your coins to make a political statement. You believe in capitalism, the removal of middlemen, and replacing trust with proof. You are sacrificing your coins to prove you are serious about this belief. You have no expectation of profit from the work of others. You understand what you sacrifice can be sold, and you will receive no benefit from it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, Solana, XRP, BNB, Tron, Doge, ADA, Hyperliquid, Chainlink, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar Lumens, Litecoin, Dash, Monero, AVAX, Zcash, and many other coins from many other networks are accepted. You can't game the system with the liquid coins. No sacrifices will be credited from the Pulse Chain network for anything. No Pulse Chain core coins can be credited from any network. A whole lot of people are going to post angrily that what they wanted to sacrifice, they're not allowed to, but that's okay. The rate increases quickly and the sacrifice is over quickly. This maximizes fairness across all networks. The max bonus is 3x. There's a leaderboard. Rate increases start in about 21 days. What might be airdropped for free to those addresses notice proving their belief in this political statement. Who knows? So what other tokens should be added in what networks? Here is the official website, provex.info. You can see right now, currently, there has been $500,000, $499,410 of value sacrificed. Total points accumulated so far from these sacrifices is 9.9 billion. Total sacrifice is 1,568 and 406 unique tokens. Tokens not shown in this UI may still be considered. Let's see, networks used, 24 different networks. So you can see here's the recent tokens that have been sent in. And you can see the leaderboard here. Some people are sacrificing USDC, some DAI. You see a $20,000 sacrifice here. Yeah, really, really interesting. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with this. We're going to sacrifice $100 of ETH. Like I said, for the culture. Another thing we did for the culture as well is we bought some Rivian stock. It's funny because when Ansem posted this chart, it looked like it was AVAX. I was like, is that AVAX? That's the same price as AVAX. So you get a lot of really good stuff for under 20 bucks, you know? Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. But yeah, actually right now, today, the stock, it pumped up pre-market 18 bucks and then it went right back down into that exact same spot of where that post was. Oh, now it's at 1668. Yeah, it wicked up. This thing's trying to build up a channel, or it's building up a rug. But we're thinking it could at least get up to, I think if this thing could get memed or GME'd, then it'll go up to 40 bucks. It'll hit that resistance. So that's 144% to the upside from this bottom here. But yeah, this thing got cooked. Ever since this thing launched, I mean, it kind of was just getting cooked. From 2021, 2022. It looks like peak of altcoins right here, November 2021. Nothing was safe. Nothing was safe. So Ava on Hex pointed out, Richard Hart top secret, ProveX will not have a coin. People are thinking that they're sacrificing for a potential coin like ProveX, but sacrifices will be well rewarded, but with another core coin. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder. It's going to be interesting. And Red Cavi said, even Ansem bull posting can't unplug us. He's like, just buy Rivian. So he's on the Rivian thing. Oh, and if you guys didn't know, there actually is a ticker Bitcoin bar that is set up in the Bahamas, a little stronghold for the Sprotos. Headband said, I sacrificed 100 bean coin. That's so funny.
Go.
Here's the thing though. I would kind of, you would think, okay, this might be one of the biggest, you could look at this as one of the biggest scams ever. Like a website just gets set up, it's posted on someone's Twitter. You don't know if this particular Twitter is being ran by Richard Hart. You could think, okay, Richard Hart probably sold his account and he's just letting someone just troll the crypto space right now. I think Richard Hart has a bigger ego than that. That's just my personal opinion. People like Richard Hart would not dare sell or let go of one of your biggest voices that even the president of the United States was fighting to get back. Is the social media of one of the biggest platforms, social medias, which was Twitter, on the planet. So, and Elon went as far as to freak one of the richest men in the world to go and acquire Twitter to then eventually turn it into X. So these people have massive egos. Okay, so they're not going to give up that particular voice, which is their digital voice. Like all these celebrities will do it because they don't give a shit. But people like Richard Hart have way bigger egos than probably most of these celebrities do. I'm gonna I'll bet on that. So I don't think he sold his account. So let's get that out of the way. I don't think he sold his account. But you could think, okay, if these people are going to be able to access and they're sacrificing all these coins. Obviously, these coins are going to be sold and they're going to go towards who knows? Who knows what it's going to go to? No idea. So this is just one of these things that you're gonna have to play along. Just like all the people that discovered Bitcoin, in order for them to participate in the network, they had to play along. They had to download the wallets. They had to test out the stuff at the time. That was very much a lot harder now than what it is to just get some Bitcoin. Like now you can just download Phantom Wallet and just like get some Bitcoin. You can be on your Brave browser and get and have Bitcoin. I mean, it's just there's so many different rails now to be able to just get crypto. But so with something like this, it's just like when we go into the privacy stuff, we're going to go back to the privacy real quick, because this is all ProveX is all this zero knowledge ZK stuff, no middlemen. This is literally what we're trying to direct into talking about is what Zera's doing, because if everyone's going to be all on the privacy thing, we've known about Monero. We know that privacy in crypto is important, and that's usually what the big whales do, or what a lot of institutions, if they're smart, they're routing through different things to be able to obfuscate and just kind of like not have everyone see what the hell is going on. And not for devious reasons, or stuff that's like they're trying to like hide what they're doing, but there's just a certain level of privacy that I think everyone attributes to. You know what I mean? So some stuff you don't care. It's like, who cares if someone sees what I'm buying at the grocery store? But if you're doing business transactions and you're doing, you have a company and you're just doing a basic deal, you don't necessarily want people to see that, Doesn't mean you're doing something bad, but it's just like Bitcoin's network and cash isn't able to determine who's using it or what it's for. It's like the knife. The knife is really good at cutting meat and cutting vegetables and being used on a cutting board, but it also could hurt someone really bad. So it's like, you can't ban the knife. That's my best analogy for this kind of stuff. But it gets into a lot of philosophical kind of like approaches for what we value as money, and what scarce money is going to look like, and what true digital scarce money is going to look like in the future, and how we're going to be able to transact with it in a digital age without it being stonewalled by some totalitarian AI whatever takeover that scans your eyes and says, well, you posted this about this particular company, so you can't get eggs today. All right, so what's on this list now, we're going down in the low cap stuff, is now Zera. Zera's developing a new type of technology that's based on the ZK proof, but they're trying to build it on Solana as its own protocol that is private, portable, and secure digital cash. Zera is going to be used as the DAO utility token that is being programmed through smart contracts to do buybacks and burns without them having to initiate it themselves. The whole point is to have any stablecoin or token with privacy go through with complete transaction anonymity, offline payment capability through a dashboard and through a device. And the way that it would do that is probably through using what Jack Dorsey is developing with the BitChat, which is Bluetooth pinging. Because you got to remember, Bluetooth is everywhere. Wi-Fi is everywhere. You can ping off of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth through nodes, and your device ends up being pinged almost like a walkie-talkie as a node, and that's how you would be able to send something to someone offline. It's pretty cool. So this is what they're trying to do, and they're kind of, if I'm correct, it's being developed in junction with the Texas with the Texas Stock Exchange, or not the Texas Stock Exchange, but the gosh, I'll have to go to Dax's profile. Where's his profile? It says all the crap on there. Where's Dax? Where's he at? Yeah, that's true. It's good. Yeah, I want to own my digital money and not have anyone know how much I hold. Yeah. But yeah, this guy, this is the dev of Zera, and recently in Texas they had a big conference and all the institutions were there, all the big wigs, you know, and people that were also affiliated with the Texas Stock Exchange. Remember, there is a Texas Stock Exchange now, just not the New York Stock Exchange. And so we'll see what they're diving into, and hopefully we'll have them on the channel. I think we're gonna have them on the channel soon, so we'll be able to really go into the weeds, and I won't be here just like trying to figure out what they're doing. They can just tell me. I just let them talk, you know. Yeah, and right now, like looking at the Zera chart, I mean, we can look at the chart, but it's such a new chart. There's really nothing to see, but we can pull it up. Recently, they migrated their from the old chart, the old liquidity pool that was set up on Radium, and they moved to Meteora. So you can see, I mean, there's really nothing to look at. I mean, the chart's very, very new, so. And you got to remember, this is like, you know, it's like you're buying a penny stock. You're buying a penny stock, but it's not, you know, we call it a penny stock, but you're really investing in an early company. You have to think about it. It's like you're an early seed investor when you're getting stuff under 100 million. You're an early seed investor. All right, so real quick, we have this, what day will the government shutdown end? A lot of people are thinking that it's getting a little, it's like it was going to end between the 12th and 15th. So it's an 80%, well, no, oh, dang, now it's a 98% chance. All right, so it should end this week. 98% chance that the government shutdown will end. So let's see how that plays out. Fed decision in December. This is also what we were talking about today, is a 25 basis point cut. You know, it was a 71% chance that the Fed will cut in December. 71% chance. So it's still looking like they will cut, even though they made those kind of hawkish terms, or hawkish quotes. All right, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. Let's see. Any other bookmarks? I think that was it. Oh, this video, yeah. So this is Ivan Solright.
A lot of people tell me crypto's not ready for prime time. I'll give you a really good example of what I'm starting to see come together in real time. Imagine you're a developer in Argentina. You want to build a challenger bank for your region. You're going to be able to spin up a cryptocurrency wallet. You'll connect a virtual bank account to it. You'll be able to receive, as an independent contractor, a payment through something like Deal. Have that automatically converted into a stable coin. You now have a checking account. Be able to click a button, move into a yield-bearing product. You're getting 6 to 7% yield. Be able to take that stable coin, convert that into a tokenized stock, convert it into any asset on any blockchain, and then have a card issued against it. We have a challenger bank. The world is changing very, very quickly. I think we're going to see developers all over the world start to leverage this infrastructure. And it's our job to make that easy. And a lot of people.
This is the next 5 to 10 to 15 year type of technology. And we're over here on crypto Twitter fighting over if it's going to be a 3 or 4 month or 6 month, whatever, like, you know, trench opportunity. It's not like that. And yeah, so Headband makes a good point. So you guys remember that there was a big little slice of a narrative on Solana, which was all the AI tokens and the AI agents or AI chat agents. Fartcoin was one of those that was like kind of like a leader, but also just as a chat terminal one. So you had a break off. You had like AI agent protocols that someone was trying to build an actual AI dashboard that is an agent that is operating by you giving it prompts. Okay, that's one. Then you had AI terminals that were AI chat terminals chatting with each other and also creating tokens, or then also an AI chat terminal being asked what would be the best token to create. Fartcoin ended up being that token. So it's all these kind of split off little niche narratives that happened with the Solana meta at the time. And so Griffin was one of those that was one of those that was an AI dashboard agent type thing. And from there, and you got to remember, this was right before the election. All those AI tokens were pumping hard. Binance was listing them. All these big exchanges started listing them, not spot, but listing them perpetuals. And so what ended up happening is these things got ran up hard. Solana was even bull posting this thing, Griffin. It ran up to over a $600 million market cap. This thing almost hit $1 billion. Okay. And it took from the bottom of December, it took about 2.5 months. It was a 2.5 month run going up to almost $700 million. Crazy. But then we saw the entire market get nuked, and all of these tokens got shorted into the ground thanks to Binance. And then a lot of people from the Solana trench ended up rotating and selling off into the next thing. So check. So what could end up happening as a potential scenario with something like Zera? Is that it gets a very similar run up, but the difference is that we don't have this like disaster altcoin election tariff geopolitical stuff like that was causing everything to get cooked, and it caused this massive rotation. So if you have a way of navigating this, I would say your best case scenario would be to accumulate here in the lows. Okay, accumulate as much as you can in these lows, these under 50 million, under 100 million, because the comparison of what happened with that same meta that was bullish, it pumped to 600 million, but look how it changed very fast over the like after 3 months. Okay, so what you can do is say, and I'm not telling you to buy this. Do this with any token. I don't care what it is. I'm just using this as an example. Don't buy this. I'm just telling you not to buy it. Do this with any token. If you're buying at the lows right here, and you have a long-term view on this project, like you want to like try and see where this thing can go, I would just recommend hedging and building up a moon bag. So you would just like take your initials out with maybe a little bit of extra. Say it goes to 200 million, it goes to 300 million. You don't know if it's going to stop there. It might stop there. It might hit a peak at 300 and not go anywhere for months. But then do you want to be like left at saying, okay, well, maybe this thing might not come back. And then you didn't sell at your initials. You didn't take any profits at all. So I would recommend in something like this, in this particular scenario, you would, if it does what Griffin did, like we just showed, like how it got to $600 million, you already took your initials out and made profit, but then you have a moon bag built up and you're just like reaping the benefits. You can decide to take even more profits. You can decide to keep holding a bag, whatever you want to do. I mean, that's all up to you. So at these points, this is what's great though with something like this is that it's under 50 million. It's at 22 million. The liquidity is at 1 million. If the liquidity continues to get built up and it's locked, then you could be assured that you could even take the profits at a 2x or a 3x. And it's not nuking the chart, you know, because then that's also a thing. So say you just had that idea. Well, guess what? The bots, the snipers, all of the other people that are accumulating supply, they might be having that same thought and they just did it at the same time. Well, guess what? That's the liquidity is the bank of the token. So if you take the bank and there's no bank, chart's gonna look like garbage. So just be prepared for that. All right. Appreciate you guys coming in. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.